It's May, and Madison Square Garden, the mecca of basketball, still has a Seton Hall vibe. Let's vibe. What's up, Pirate Nation? You're locked into Pirate Vibes, where Seton Hall Hoops isn't just a thing of the past. It's a vibe still running through the very veins of this game on the NBA level, especially right now in the month of May. I'm your host, Brian Webster, and today's episode, it's for the real ones. It's not for the younger fans. Younger fans can learn something here today. We'll call it story time. You ever hear the name Mark Bryant? Old time Seton Hall fans and people that really followed this program know the name Mark Bryant. Knick fans know it now, but Knick fans, you gotta tune in, you gotta pay attention because he's not just the guy with the clipboard. He's a Seton Hall legend. He's a blue collar baller who banged in the paint at Walsh Gym before anyone knew what the word flopping meant in the game of basketball. He's old school. He's tough. And now he's building the Seton Hall. He's using those Seton Hall roots to build a tough front line for the New York Knicks on their playoff run. And it all started back in the day with PJ. PJ being intense, yelling at his face. And now on his basketball journey after his NBA career, he's the big man whisperer for Tom Thibodeau with the Knicks. So he goes from PJ, who's tough, no nonsense type of guy, to Tibbs. This is about Mark Bryant, the quiet force behind the Knicks. We're talking about a guy who, battled in the Big East when the Big East really had battles. No disrespect to the current era, but you had guys like Patrick Ewing, right? Ronnie Cycli, and Mark Bryant. Don't forget about Mark Bryant. And now he's coaching in a deep playoff run, and we love it. That Seton Hall vibe, that Seton Hall work ethic, that Seton Hall blue collar, that mentality is on with the Knicks. We talk about Seton Hall greats all the time. He's one of them. But a lot of us talk about like Miles Powell, right? Or Terry DeHare or Shah himself. But back in the 80s, Mark Bryant was the foundation of that magical run that PJ had with the Pirates. He wasn't on that Final Four team, but he established the culture for Seton Hall. The culture of toughness, the culture of that old school Big East elbows, sweat, no easy layups. And let's be honest, he was a stud, but PJ was not giving out compliments ever. You don't want to work? Come sit next to me. Come on, come and sit next to me. That's the way Mark Bryant had to play in college for PJ. That's what he has become, too. In college, he had 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and about a billion tough plays that didn't show up in the box score. He was that dude. And don't forget that this Big East was the Ewing era Big East. Ronnie Cycli, like he had to be ready for every center every single night. It was going to be a battle every single night. But he didn't back down from anyone. He played a little bit angry. He played very, very smart. Played like a pirate. He set that tone for that pirate culture. When did Seton Hall start to rise during that great era? When guys like Mark Bryant were playing for PJ. 1988 comes, he's in the NBA draft. Portland takes him at 18. That's a huge statement. Seton Hall wasn't one of those programs that got a draft pick every time. They weren't the Carolinas, the Dukes. He wasn't your 25 points per night type of guy in college. He's your do the dirty work guy. He's your vet who knows when to foul and when not to. He played 15 seasons in the NBA, 10 teams. 10 teams. This was when the league only had 28 teams. Played for nearly half of them. Why did he hang around? Because he did everything right. And then when he hung him up, he could have been, an analyst. He could have been resting on his laurels. No, he went back into the coaching game. He became a teacher, a coach, a guy that young bigs can lean on. And let me tell you, he was spectacular at coaching. He still is. Serge Ibaka played underneath him, Steven Adams, DeAndre Ayton. All those guys that took giant steps after a couple of years in the league. You know where they got that giant step from? Mark Bryant arrived on their bench. He whispered in their ears. He talked about positioning, angles, mental toughness. He was teaching that mentality. That same mentality that PJ taught him back in the 80s. You don't need a headline, you needed a win. That was the mentality of the Seton Hall Pirates. And look who he's coaching for now. Kind of sounds similar. Thibodeau doesn't need the headline. He runs his players tough. He's a defensive junkie, a film rat, just like PJ. All business, 100% of the time. So Bryant definitely fits right in. Picture this. It's in the fourth quarter of a playoff game. You need a big stop. Do you trust the New York Knicks bigs right now? Something that you couldn't have said for a very long time. Let's be honest. You see Cat becoming physical. Mitch Robb obviously has always been physical, but he seems more dynamic on the offensive side this year with his offensive putbacks, especially tonight. You think all that transforms just because it just happens? Like it just happens? No. That's Mark Bryant in their ears. Every screen, every rotation, every drop coverage that forces a bad shot. That's Seton Hall toughness showing up at MSG. He's repping the Pirate way, even if he's not wearing the logo. You know what makes it sweeter about this whole thing, about having the effect on New York City basketball? Because this culture started in the 80s. PJ ended up becoming a coach with the Nets. Now Mark is with the Knicks. So that Jersey to New York City pipeline for coaches seems to be opening up, and it started with the 80s again. Bryant is carrying on the mission that PJ always had. Grinding, building, and molding dudes into toughness, into tough guys at MSG. I can imagine. I wish I could sit with PJ watching the Knicks games. So he can give me some war stories every time you see Mitchell Robinson do something that might remind you of Mark Bryant. Or Cat all of a sudden getting physical. Cat's always got a reputation of kind of being a softer big. Not this year. No one's really said that this year. You see the toughness tonight in the playoff game, even with the loss. I wish I could sit next to PJ to hear him talk about the glory days with Mark Bryant and how that's influencing the Knicks in the current NBA. Mark Bryant is not the game changer, the big name that all the franchises are chasing after, or the big money move, I should say. Mark Bryant is one of those guys that can lay the foundation to change the culture of an NBA franchise, just like he did Seton Hall, the college basketball team in the 80s. From those sweaty nights at Walsh Gym to the bright lights at the Garden, he's still doing what he's always done, making players tougher, making teams better, and repping Seton Hall basketball. That's a vibe. That's a legacy. That's Mark Bryant. And when we come back, we will check in on the Pirates' current situation. This is Pirates Vibe. Welcome back, to Pirate fans. Let's take a step away from the NBA game and let's turn our attention to the current day Pirates and Shaw's collection of guys and kind of see where we are along the offseason timeline. I know we talk about March Madness. We talk about, it's almost the tip off and we worry about the schedule and everything, but mayhem needs to be a trademark kind of thing for college basketball because it's absolutely mayhem in the offseason in the month of May. You got the transfer portal, right? It's basically closed. The window slammed shut on May 1st for undergrads, but grad transfers and late entries are still floating around. Obviously, there's still roster spots to be had, especially for our Seton Hall Pirates. Coaches are shopping for the perfect fit, not just talent. Chemistry matters more this late into it. Some would say Shaw's done pretty good. I'm one to say that. Some are saying that we still don't see a pulse with Seton Hall, a strong enough pulse. Maybe add another wing. You definitely have to add a big and maybe another lead guard. The Pirates had one in this past weekend, so we should see where that goes. Kid from High Point. The coaching carousel is still kind of going around. I don't know if guys are going to go. I don't think anyone for Seton Hall, but I don't know if guys are going to go to the NBA when those openings open up, especially in this new college basketball game, this new era. You might see some guys that get the opportunity to leave college to go pro, leave. So we see some of that shifting in May. And then, of course, May 29th. And this is the big date for me personally, the NBA draft deadline, right? Those that still have eligibility in college basketball can come back to college. Some big names are still undecided. Big names for the college game. They might not be automatic first-round draft picks, but they're big names that would come into the portal, right? Which is absolutely huge. And maybe Seton Hall goes for a swing for one of those guys that, has been on the fence, goes to the draft. They're not guaranteed that first round draft pick. They come back. They can be very good college players, make some money too now. So you can go for the fences. You can swing for one guy. Maybe see a big that's underdeveloped, not ready for the NBA. Maybe Shaw can convince that big, you know what? I'll get you ready for the NBA. Maybe that point guard or that two guard that would play alongside Bud Clark, maybe he's out there and he comes back. We're not going to speculate with certain names because we really don't know what Shaw's doing, and that's fine. Just like our guest said last week, Shaw likes to hold everything close to the vest. He's got a tight inner circle. Off-season workouts are coming up. That's where the chemistry starts to build, especially when you're a team full of transfer portal guys, right? So what should we watch right now? I think the first thing you got to look for is an NBA draft decisions. I don't expect to move by the end of the month, right? I'm filming this on the 22nd of May. So in the next 9-10 days, I don't expect to move. So maybe the NBA draft, if they make that decision to come back on the 29th, maybe you go swing for the fence right there, and maybe June 2nd, June 3rd, you start getting guys going, okay, let's go. Show me the money. Let's go. We'll come play. So that's what I would look for first, NBA draft guys, and then try to get the final transfer dominoes in place. And then, of course, we're going to be watching the early summer workouts, see if we get any insider information, any feedback from Shah and his staff about how summer camp's really going. And we've got to watch out for the other Big East programs. Obviously, starting from the bottom, right? You got to work your way up. So over the next couple episodes, I'm going to try to do a quick little segment on my take of the other teams in the Big East. And we'll go from last year's standings and we'll just work our way up. Right? We'll end up at St. John's. So don't sleep. Don't sleep on Pirate news right now because media days will be here before you know it. The schedule's going to come out. Some say it's the off season. Nah, there is no off season anymore. With the constant movement and everything, it's 365 days a year for Pirates and college basketball. Just different types of calendars here now than we're traditionally used to. I think we're starting to get used to this calendar, but it's still a little funky, right? So stay here, locked on Big East Energy Network, because we will cover every team. We got another team coming soon. Shh, it's a secret. Obviously, you got the weekly show with Mark and Casey. You got Roll Jays. You got the UConn show, right? The Hoops Cap. We got Pirate Vibes. I'm your host, Brian Webster. This was Pirate Vibes. Hit that follow, smash that like, and remember, Seton Hall built this. Keep vibing.
Ahoy there! Ahoy, me hearties!